Hello and welcome to another episode of the Fair One podcast. This is the second episode um, of the day that we're doing. We're doing back to backs, and we're already kicking off. Oliver Ekman Romero says he's going to be fucking huge. NMBA says that he believes that Romero will lose by submission. Um, and Oliver Ekman says, "Yeah, I haven't seen much of Davis, and Yoel tends to wait too long." Phil Davis is a hell of a wrestler in his own right. He's not level of Romero wrestler, but the way that they wrestle is different. Whereas Davis is a guy that will chain his wrestling together offensively quite well. Um, Interesting. This is going to be a very interesting fight. Romero will look massive, like he'll look very big, but his frame and overall, he's actually not as big as you'd think. When he was at middleweight, he wasn't like he's not like a tall and broad kind of guy. He's like a nugget, like a just a ball of muscle. Um, at light heavyweight, I do think that he loses some of those mechanical advantages. Having said that, he's a monster. He's a fucking monster. Phil Davis will be the younger man. I think Phil Davis. Um, he's also, yeah, he's just got a lot of momentum behind him. He's a hell of a fighter as well in his own right. I think he's a full-time All-American too. Um, Michael Phoebing says, "Hey Fab, how are you, Michael? How you doing?" DSC says, "What's the best job you've ever had?" The best job I've ever had. I think it depends, dude. I've had cool jobs at different times in my life, and they were good for that portion of my life, not necessarily were they jobs I'd want to go back to now, if that makes sense. Like I loved working at TAFE when I was a teacher, like a college teacher. That was a really good time, really good job. I really enjoyed it. I loved working in gyms when I was in the fitness industry. Um, all they're all cool jobs, but not necessarily would I go back to them. Um, Sweat Lord says, "Why doesn't Yoel wrestle anymore?" I do think that age has gotten the better of Yoel. I'm looking forward to Saul versus Georgi, Karakhanyan versus Saul Rogers. Georgie's an ex first grade soccer player, so that's interesting. Um, Hey Mellon says, "If I'm allowed to guess, this fight will mostly be spent on the feet, but who knows? I don't know, man, because Phil can wrestle. He can really, really wrestle. And he'll love those scrambles and that wrestling and all of that. He'll definitely enjoy that very much." NMBA says his wrestling style was never suited for MMA. I disagree because he used his wrestling in a way that he needed to use it, if you know what I mean. He was ridiculously hard to take down, but people would get him down as well. Like Brunson got him down a couple of times in that fight, but his ability to set up his striking with the back of the back of his wrestling was very good. And when he needed to wrestle and he needed someone to get to the ground, he got him to the ground. Um, Akash Deep says, "I'm just excited. What's up, Fab? There's a killer behind you." Yeah, this person's an absolute monster, absolute maniac. Her mum is she killed her mum. Like she made her mum so tired. Her mum's in in bed now. She went to bed very, very tired. She yeah, obviously my wife's expecting a baby in December. We're expecting a baby. So my wife's very, very pregnant, very, very tired, and very, very much asleep. Christian Edwards versus Ben Parish are about to fight. Um, I Yeah, this is a light heavyweight apparently. Um, so we'll see how this fight goes. Now, looks can be deceiving, but there's one dude that's way more out of shape than the other in this fight. Again, what does that mean? I don't know. NMVA says my totally legit stream isn't starting. Anyone else having this problem? Um, DSC says over time it seems Romero fell in love with his hands. You got to understand something, dude. Romero's like 44 or something. And wrestling, putting the pace on in wrestling like that is very hard in MMA. Very, very hard. Very, very, very hard. Plus, you have injuries. I think Romero's had surgeries to his neck. He's had all sorts of injuries. Hey Mellon says that's true. I don't remember having Romero having to defend many takedowns. I think he's from freestyle wrestling, which is about spending less time on the mat. Yeah, it's a different type of wrestling, freestyle, not necessarily. Whilst I do agree, I think the best type of wrestling, in my opinion, is folk style for MMA. Wrestling, I'm talking about, like when you say combat sambo, da 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 da. And honestly, we've seen more people have success with folk style, So, but I don't want to split them too much. I like folk style the most for MMA. Stainless Stove says my dad looks in better shape than that guy at 58. Um, yeah, look, like I said, looks can sometimes be deceiving. I don't know if this is going to be the case. Dude, Christian Edwards is 6'5", the other guy's 6 foot. They both come in at 205. Christian's reach is 78.5 versus 73. This looks like two different weight divisions. This is, as far as I can see, this being is a huge mismatch just from looking at him. I don't know if Ben Parish is really, really good. I think this is going to look like like on paper it looks completely different, like completely different weight divisions, man. Christian Edwards looks like he would beat Ben Parish in any sport that they decided to play, any sport. I've got some free parkour for you guys to watch in the background. I'm sorry, but I've had to look after the little one because my wife dropped dead, mate. She's dropped asleep. She got to look after her all morning. DSC says, I think I read somewhere that he's broken his neck. Yeah, he did. He did break his neck. Guess that's why he has such big traps to try and support the thing. Well, he's lucky he has big traps to support the thing because he always had big traps. If breaking your neck is not going to give you big traps. Stainless Stove says, my dad just said to himself, what the hell are we watching? This looks pretty bad. They touch gloves. Parish does not move well. Like somebody asked me before, like, what's the worst shape you've seen someone come in? This is pretty fucking close to it, man. Like this is not, no offense to Parish, but like, I mean, he looks like he's fighting hard. I hope he wins. I'm going for Parish, but I think Edwards is going to win. Parish looks like he put some put some power behind his punches, though. Oh, he dropped him. He dropped him. He dropped him and he won. Parish, you champion of justice. He dropped him and he won. Good for you, Parish. I don't know if he's yelling straight at me, but hey, man, good for you. I'm fucking happy for you, man. I'm happy for you. Wow. You would never, ever in your life pick Parish to win that fight. Never. You would never, ever, ever in your life think that he would win that fight. Or a game of squash. You would just not think that he would beat him in anything. So here, Parish is unperturbed by the power coming back from Christian. Then he throws a right hand from the southpaw, lands a straight left down the pipe, drops Christian, and then lands some nice follow up ground and pound. Boom! Hits him with a left hand of the gods. Wow. Good for you, Parish. Good for you. Throws a right hand, left hand, drops him. This, kids, is why you don't start fights on the street with people you don't know. Or with anyone, really, because anyone can lay anyone out. And there's people out there that can really fight. Wow. Wow. Stainless Stove says they said he just said his only loss is when he broke his leg. Wow. Wow. And I'm going to assume that he could fight at a lighter weight. Good for him. Good for him. Hey Mellon says, not that he is ugly, guys. I'm not saying he's ugly. I just didn't think that he looked athletic. Who knows? Good for him. I'm super happy. Stainless Stove says, I just checked. All his wins are by finish. 3 submissions and 2 TKOs. Good for him. Good for him. Eli Hedges says he probably drives a Volkswagen Golf. Fucking Eli out of nowhere shows his face here. He shows his face on our podcast, people. Michael Wood, wow, that said he used to weigh 310 pounds. It looks like he's on his way down and he's losing a whole bunch of weight. And for that, I am happy. Very, very happy. Because he looks like a small guy. Like you look at him, he looks like a little guy. Looks like he could probably fight a welterweight. Hey Mellon says it was a sick win. Yeah, man. Good for him. Record is 5-1. First career knockout. Good for him. I hope he keeps going down in weight. I hope he's healthy and good for him. Good for him. Honestly, I thought this is going to be a mismatch. This guy's going to kill him. And I didn't want to see that, to be honest with you. I didn't want to see it. But now I'm glad that he won and that, he's probably going to keep moving down in weight. So that's cool. And now we got Georgi Karakhanyan versus Saul Rogers. That's going to be an interesting one. Georgie's very good, man. And I'm always interested when you see those guys that that used to play soccer or something like professionally, and that because it's an elite level of athlete. Although right now, he's 36 years old, so who knows how he's going to perform at this point. Okay, Georgie. He's got a split decision loss to Miles Jury. Miles Jury is very good. AJ McKee's got a loss by knockout. AJ McKee's very good. Emmanuel Sanchez is good. Not the best in the world, but he's good. He's decent. Okay, so he's got some wins, some losses. It'll be an interesting fight. I always like seeing those guys though. John Condrum says, my man looks like an insurance salesman and knocked old mate the fuck out. Yes, he did. Stainless Stove says, hopefully gets the money to see a doctor and remove all the loose skin. What a transformation. Good for him. MVA says, can rich people be fighters? The best tend to come from worse circumstances. I think that's more happenstance, to be honest with you, because there's a lot more poor people than there are rich people in the world. That's to begin with. And the other thing is, a lot of these guys that you see fighting are fighting like you might have a guy that's a good fighter. That would have been a good fighter, but if you've got other avenues in your life, you're going to pursue that. Like more than likely, you're going to go with something that, if you wrestled in the US, you wrestled at Stanford, then, and you did a law degree at Stanford, more than likely you're going to pursue your that career than if you're going to continue, you're going to go into MMA, say. So yeah, rich people can. It's got nothing to do with that. It's just your options when you're richer are a lot greater. You know what I mean? A lot greater. And you're going to take the path of least resistance when always, and with greater returns, than you would. Fighting's a fucking tough way to make a living. It's not that like a lot of guys that grew up poor would necessarily go, yeah, I'd fucking love to fight if you give me a different option. Probably not. Is Eli taking a break from being a hostage negotiator? I think he's the one taking the hostages. DSC says Gracie will be interesting. Absolutely. Michael Wood says the loose skin from being 310 makes him look worse than he is. That's true as well. Stainless Stove says, "Wow, you guys should see a before and after pic of this guy before losing the weight. Good for him, man. Good for him." There's another guy. Fuck, I can't remember who it was. He fought in the UFC, and it was a similar story, man. And that made my day. Stainless Stove, that made my day. DSC says, "What's the Masters on Fab? Social work." Victor says, "Oi," and NMA says, "Have you made picks for the upcoming pay per view?" Um, the fights with I think Ortega versus Volkanovski. I pick Volkanovski. I pick Shevchenko. I don't know the Nick Diaz versus Nick Diaz versus Lawler. I haven't seen him fight for too long. Whoever got Santos versus Walker, Santos. I think Santos is tidier and like he's just a little tidier, you know what I mean? And a little bit more. Whereas Walker's unpredictable, but he can get hurt. He can get hurt. I think it's a hell of a card, that's coming up. I'm probably going to start that card at Dan Hooker versus Nasrat. I'll pick Dan Hooker. Bantamweight Marlon Moraes versus Merab Valishvili. I pick Merab. Jessica Andrade versus Cynthia Calvillo. I don't really know who to pick there. Curtis Blades versus Jorginho. I pick Curtis Blades, but I got a feeling Jorginho might win. Nick Diaz versus Robbie Lawler. I can't really pick that one. Valentina versus Lauren Murphy. I pick Valentina. Volkanovski versus Ortega. I pick Volkanovski. I haven't followed Bellator too much, but I hear rumors about their mismatches. Maybe this was one that went wrong. Amazing to see either way. I mean, Bellator's pretty good, man. There are some mismatches, but it is still pretty. It's still a pretty good organization. Santos has no legs anymore. Doesn't that worry me? NMVA says. I don't know that he hasn't got any legs anymore. Let's see. Let's see how he goes. Fabo, I like the new neon sign. Thank you, sir. Jared Cannonier is another guy that lost a ton of weight. Khalil Roundtree's another guy that lost a ton of weight. Absolutely. Fab, have you been watching SAS Australia? Who Dares Wins? I have not. Stainless Stove says you should go on it. I absolutely would not go on it. Just from what I've heard with the claustrophobia stuff and all that shit. Nah, I'm not. I like a comfortable life, man. I've worked hard. I've worked real hard in the real world to get in a comfortable spot or a relatively comfortable spot. And so I'm going to run with that for now. So now my daughter's looking for a mum who she terrorized. Baby, mummy's not here. She terrorized her mother for hours, mercilessly. She's a demon, this little girl. An absolute demon. Scares us. Yeah, I hope Bellator doesn't take heaps between fights. That's one thing I think, like the UFC, they just roll them out, man, and they do such a fantastic job of that as a promotion, man. They are second to none. They do it so well. Stainless Stove says it's such a fun show though. This he says so selfish, it makes me sick. Oliver Ekman says, Fab, are you going to grow out the beard? Nah, I'm not going to grow out the beard. I'm just not shaving it for a few days, but then I'm going to shave it soon. So yeah, Saul Rogers a big boy too, man. Versus Georgi Karakhanyan. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know who wins this one. What rankings does Nemkov get in UFC light heavyweight rankings? I reckon he's top 5. I see no reason why he wouldn't be top 5. He's a killer, that guy. Roy C says, I lost a bet to Georgi in his last fight. He was losing on the feet, but he got the finish on the ground when his opponent tried to grapple with him. Wishful thinking says, Mark Philippus is going to drop everyone when they box. Dude, I'll tell you something, like those tennis players, baseball pitchers, some of the cricket players, like they would generate force and power, man, with a big like overhand right, or overhand left, respectively. Wishful thinking says, as the main card started, it has. We already one fight down. Michael Wood says, sucks Rumble and Yoel had to pull out of the Grand Prix. It is a shame. It is a shame. I don't mind Bellator, you know. I don't mind Bellator. Saul has the same nickname as Dan Hooker, the Hangman. I would think that that wouldn't be such a popular nickname. There you go. Oliver Ekman says, Fab, give us a quick Spanish He-Man theme song, please. I will not, sir. I will not. I will not. I have way too much class, sir. Way too much class. How dare you try to prostitute me like that in front of my daughter? Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Yes. You want to play with your dog? Sorry, I had to play that for my daughter. She has no respect whatsoever for what we're doing here. This is a serious podcast. Okay, this is a very, very serious podcast. Yep, say podcast. Come here. Yes. She's got a little dog that does the Merry Christmas thing. Should MMA, DSC says, should MMA become one united body as opposed to a bunch of promotions? It, it's hard, man, because there's always going to be that corruption. You have one promotion, which there kind of is right now. It's UFC right now. Like, let's not kid ourselves; they are far and ahead from anyone else. I'd like to see a few bigger promotions. I'd like to see more competition. I'd like to see more places for the fighters to go. I'd like to see. I think it just pushes the level of competition further and further along. The more, the you know, three or four, three or four good promotions, and maybe some co-promotion would be really, really interesting to see. Um, when will the Romero fight, Omar? Later, man. Not for another half an hour. I'd say at least 45 minutes, if not more. Zed Mook says, "How are you, Fab? You beautiful empanada." I'm good, sir. I'm quite good. Um, Stainless Stove says the weather down here in Hobart was all doom and gloom, and now it's super sunny. Classic Tassie. Hey, dude, I've been trying to get my wife to move down to for us to move down to Tasmania. Hey, I've got this thing with moving to Tasmania, but my wife says nah, 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 nah. I love Tasmania, man. I've been to Tasmania 2, 3 times, and I'm good friends with Priscus Fogagnolo. Shout out to Priscus if you know him. He's in Hobart. I imagine you'd have to know him if you're in MMA and in Hobart because Hobart's small. But I really, really like it. I've been trying to move down there, but my wife is scared because of jobs and careers and education for the kids and that. But I said to her, man, it's pretty good. Sell us on Hobart, my friend. Um, NMBA says, where do you stand on Rickson's stance on BJJ being watered down? I don't know what he. I, I don't know. I don't know what he means by that or the context in which he said it. That's a truth. I don't know. Hey Melon says focusing on getting unions in the biggest orgs is probably a better idea. Um, I don't think they're going to get unions in. That's just me. I don't think that's going to happen. Oh, thank you. Does Doggy want to say something to anyone, everyone, to the microphone? No. Okay, cool. He did earlier. My parents moved us from Queensland, New South Wales, and Tassie. So you moved to Tasmania, or you moved away from Tasmania? Zed Merck says, "Is UFC 270 Whitaker versus Adesanya 100% done?" I have no idea, mate. No idea. Stanley, we're off, people. We're off. There is a glove touch, both guys in the orthodox stance. It's Saul looking for the double jab. Very nice, man, the way he put that double jab together. Georgie with a nice leg kick. He'd have good kicks, man, coming from a soccer background. Another nice calf kick. Georgi again goes looking for the calf kick. I was really impressed with the way he blitzes in behind that double jab, Rogers. Georgi throws a nice calf kick again, partially blocked by Rogers. Oh, nice exchange. I think like this, how they're going like this, these two guys. Um, Georgi's in a bit of danger of getting caught with those fast hands of Rogers. Nice inside low kick landed by Rogers. Georgi keeps throwing that calf kick, and there's not a huge amount of setup behind it. Nice little right hand landed by Rogers.
Daddy. Doggy.
Yes, he's a good doggy. Nice little left hand by Rogers. Both guys exchange left hands. Nice low kick by Rogers. Georgi holding the center of the ring a little bit more than Rogers. Nice overhand right. Body lock by Rogers. Pushes Karakhanyan up against the cage. Pushes him up. Elevates him a little bit. He's looking for this takedown. Now, Georgi has really good jiu-jitsu, but so does Rogers. And Rogers was very adamant on getting this to the ground. And he's managed to do that. He's inside the close guard of Karakhanyan. You'll have to bear with me, guys, on some of this background music. Doing a lot of good work from inside the closed guard of Georgi. And Georgi's doing a good job as well because he's minimizing the amount of damage that's occurring from Rogers. He's landing some elbows of his own. Rogers is not really posturing up to land shots. And he's doing good. They're both doing a good job, but it's very like neutralizing game right now from each one of them. But the problem is for someone like Georgi, the time that he's spending on the bottom does not look good for him in the judges' eyes, even though he's not really sustaining any real amount of damage. And Saul's landing some nice shots, man. Every now and then he lands some good shots. And he's creating a lot of pressure then, holding Georgi up against the cage. This is the position you don't want to be in. You don't want to have your head parallel to the edge of the cage and your body perpendicular to it. And that's kind of what Saul is managing to achieve now from the half guard position. 1 minute and 47 seconds to go in this first round. And it's been more or less not all Rogers, but a lot of it has been Rogers in this round. It's got him in the half guard position. He's trying to get up his Georgi, but Rogers has a very, very good wrist control. Now he's gone to high parterre, has Georgi. And Rogers once again picks him up with a big body slam. Nice work. 1 minute and 10 seconds to go in this first round. And Rogers is definitely getting the better of the grappling exchanges. He sinks one hook in now. He's getting the better of the grappling exchanges, especially in these positions, because the positions that Georgi has landed in have not been really good offensive positions when you have two people that are closely matched in their jiu-jitsu or in their grappling. And Saul is definitely being able to capitalize on these positions. "35 seconds to go. Looking for a broomstick sweep here is Saul, I believe. He hasn't got it now, the mat return. But he's doing a good job with that great head positioning, nice shoulder strikes. The head positioning is key here. And he's gone deep looking for a single leg. Georgi drops to a guillotine. The problem when you drop for a guillotine, you're basically capitulating to being taken down. And it's hard to finish a guillotine on a good guy, like in these positions. 7, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Saul passed to the correct side anyways. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the end of the first round. Do I still train? Yeah, I still train, but I don't. I just be careful. Like I've only got a couple of like friends that I kind of roll around with. I just got my knees are too bad. Like I've got my knees are too shot. Who disliked the video? Who knows? Why would you dislike it? King Taylor says, "Do you think Romero will get a win today? Will he win today? I don't know. Phil Davis, a hard matchup. Um, it's a good idea, though. Are you talking about like what's a good idea, DC? Sorry, because there's been a few different things since we last thing you said. Stainless Serve said we moved to Tasmania, lived in Queensland first, New South Wales, then Tassie. I'd like to live in Tassie. I would. DSC says the thing is the fighters always seem to just shit on each other. I get it in terms of selling a fight, but it seems counterproductive. It is 1 billion% counterproductive as far as you guys, as far as them having any sort of support for each other, which is yeah, makes it very hard. Oliver Ekman says I can't tell who the better commentator is, Fab or the half Asian daughter. Joking, of course, it's a half Asian. Of course, it is, sir. Of course, of course. And those people are always good at gadgets and stuff like that. I can say that now because my daughter and my wife are Asian, and no one can say anything. That's why I married him, so I'd have that access to those jokes. Nice 1-2 by Rogers. Hits a big blast double on Georgie and gets him down again. Once again, he's tying up those legs, and he's elevated those legs and tied him at the knee. Great work by Rogers. Again, sinks one of the hooks in. He's got the hook. He's great behind the leg. He's in all sorts of trouble, is Georgie here, because Rogers has shown that he can ride out the round. No. He's shown that he can ride out the round in these positions, and he'll win the fight like this. It's a great job. He's doing a fantastic job. Georgie worked his way up from high parterre, again trying to defend himself, but Rogers is doing a fantastic job with that double leg up against the cage, really showing a chink in the armor of Georgie with the takedown defense and the inability to get himself like from guard into an advantageous position. He can't really reverse that. So he'll go from the guard, get himself back up, but then he gets taken back down again. Rogers is really putting a lot of pressure on Georgie. I kind of don't like the way that Georgie keeps looking for that guillotine over the top. I'd much rather see him transfer into a crossface and create some distance and space and be able to get himself separated from Rogers a little bit. Like I said, the guillotine, you're kind of capitulating to the takedown. You have to be a fair bit better than the other guy or just catch him very sweet. Guys like the Diaz brothers, guys like that, the guillotines and the jiu-jitsu is their thing. It's a little different. Zed Mook says, wrong Fab. I'm Asian, but I'm dumb as dog shit. I'm sorry, mate. I don't think so. I don't think you're dumb. Now, this wrist control on the far side, very good position here from from Rogers. And this creates a lot, even if Georgie's able to get up out of this position, he creates a lot of effort. He has to do a lot of effort to get from point A to point B. DSC says, so you have a whole room dedicated to this podcast. It's very impressive. Thank you, sir. It's not just, this is like my office as well. This is where I do all my uni work and where I have Skype meetings and where I come and do my work and that. It's just an office. My wife runs stuff out of here as well. Nice guillotine now. This guillotine looks in pretty deep from Georgie, but it just transitioned into more of a front headlock thing. Big flying knee by Georgie, hits him with a combination. Covers up, does Saul. Georgie's hitting him with a flurry of shots, hitting him with a pair of uppercuts and a little hook over the top. That took a lot out of him in that flurry for Georgie. Georgie keeps throwing up the scissor knees up the middle. I'm assuming to stop the takedown, but this will be hard for Georgie in this next minute and 39 seconds because he poured a lot of effort into those flurries and nothing happened from those, This really, really would have taxed him, One, the actual having to fight out of those positions, and then once he was out of those positions, hitting those flurries would have been very difficult. Zedmuk says, are you still a teacher or are you studying something else? So I'm not a teacher anymore. I left the college I was teaching at, and I'm studying social work at the moment, a master's of social work, and I want to do something, something else, still in line with what I was doing before. I probably still working with athletes, but I want to do it along different routes. Why do I want to move to Tasmania, says Stainless Stove. I don't think my childhood would have been what it was in any other state. Surfing, beaches, snowboarding, mountain bike tracks, etc. It's all within a 20-minute drive. For that exact reason, my friend, because I love it here on the South Coast, and I think Tasmania would be the South Coast on steroids. Um, yeah, I love it. Still more of the same. Saul landing shots on Georgie, and I do believe he's trying to set up that re naked if he gets a chance, if he's able to sink those hooks in. But Georgie is very savvy to the positioning. He knows what's up. He knows what's happening. He's going to survive this. I don't even know that Saul will necessarily get the finish in this third round. This is the second, of course, of three, but he's done a fantastic job. They touch gloves. They go back to their respective corners. So he's looking for the scissor knee. He hit him. He did hit Rogers with it and shook him. Really shook him. But he kind of Rogers wasn't like dropping his head. He kind of had he was still upright. So whilst it shook him, it he wasn't like ducking into a takedown. He was already covering up and aware that that's what could possibly be coming. So that was interesting. I think this is unless Georgie can do something very, very different. I think it's going to be a repeat of the first two rounds, unless he can catch him with one of those scissor knees, or he can hit him with a right hand or a little left hook or something like that. I think it's just going to be rinse and repeat of the first and second rounds. Zedmuk says, keeping up with NRL Fab. If so, who do you have winning the Prem? I don't know, man. I don't follow it too much. I've got a couple of friends. I've been working with a kid named Ray Stone who plays for Parramatta. I've been working with grappling with him a fair bit, and so obviously I was going for Para and they lost. Ray did a very impressive, something like 42 tackles. He had like 150 tackles in 3 games. If anyone that knows rugby league, that's an incredible effort to have 50 tackle games back to back. Karakhanyan has sunk guillotine in from a half guard, but I don't think he's going to get this. No, he didn't get it. DSC says, why social work with athletes? No, it doesn't not necessarily have to be social work with athletes, but I'm definitely interested in mental health, and I'm definitely interested in the social aspects pertaining to mental health. They're the two things that really interest me, and athletic development and all of that fall into that. So it's not necessarily doing social work with athletes. They're just two things that I'm interested in. And my undergraduate is in sports science. Oliver Ekman says, everyone please go like and sub. Help Fab feed the half Asian daughter. Yes, please do so, guys. Please do so. Please like and subscribe and hit the notification bell if you haven't already. More of the same from Rogers. Rogers is doing a fantastic job. He ties up the far wrist of Georgie, and he's landing the left hand now. And like I said, I think it'll be more of the same. He's got 3 minutes and 30 seconds, does Saul, to continue this. And I think it's, yeah. Zed Mook says, Ray Stone's gas tank is always full. Absolute workhorse, very underrated. I think Ray Stone's is ridiculously underrated. And he works very, very, very hard at what he does, very, very, very good. Very, very, works really hard during the season, out of the season. Very, very good. Thoughts on Gegard Mousasi? I think Mousasi is a fantastic fighter, a really, really, really fantastic fighter. Would have been interesting to have seen him in the middleweight division in the UFC, but I mean the deals couldn't get done. Obviously, that favored him, and more power to him for finding a home at Bellator. But it would have been interesting. I think that he would have matched up interestingly with both Rob and Mousasi. I'm not saying he'd beat him, but with Rob and Israel, I'm not saying he'd beat him. I just think that that'd be really interesting matchups. So now we got Rogers again. He's got one hook in, and he's got the far side wrist control, doing a really good job. He's landing the left hand over and over and over again. Georgie's working his way back to his feet, but Rogers is relentless, absolutely relentless with this. And he continues to do so. And that's a gap where they're both good at jiu-jitsu, but one guy's a better wrestler, so he's able to get to the positions that he needs to quicker and faster. 808 says, "What's up, Uncle Fab? Aloha from Hawaii, brother. Aloha, my friend. How are you? How are you, my friend? Glad to have you on here. Thank you so much." And I think I say it to you every time, but we almost moved to Hawaii, mate. We almost moved to Hawaii. Very, very close. Very close. My wife didn't want to move to Hawaii. Actually, she's scared of island fever and all the natural disasters. She's scared of all of that, so we didn't move. Otherwise, man, like we would have moved. Um, DSC says mental health is so important. There should be more education awareness on the subject. Amen, mate. 1,000,000,000%, which is why I'm interested in it. Your dog says, "Hey, Fab, you might have answered this earlier, but what are your thoughts on those oblique kicks and whether they should be illegal?" They're devastating. I'll tell you that. I don't know if they should be illegal necessarily, but they are devastating. They can be career ending or career altering. But so can a lot of the damaging moves in MMA. Um, Notwithstanding, you can be kicked in the head and knocked the fuck out and be killed, So, yeah, those things are very dangerous. So you got 40 seconds to go. Georgie's in a lot of trouble. He's not going to win this fight, save for catching Rogers flush unawares or something like that. Um, he's got the far hook. He's got the far hook in. Does Rogers, and he's going to continue this. Is more of the same. Really, really good work by Rogers. I'm impressed by Rogers a lot. And Georgie was not able to launch any type of offense whatsoever. Saul was just on him the whole time, stuck to him like glue, and just continued to play his game. Very smart fighter as well. Saul showed that he's very, very smart. Doesn't get caught up in anything other than what he needs to do to win. That's the fight. Saul won. Great work. Um, AG says, "Did I miss the Romero fight?" No, the Romero fight's still about at least a good half hour away. DSC says, "Have you ever been to Scotland?" I have not. I've been to Ireland, but I've never been to Scotland. Got family. My cousin married like a Scottish Welsh girl or something like that. Like one parent's Scottish, the other person's Welsh. So yeah. Um, DSC says soccer kicks. What are my thoughts on soccer kicks? Um, I don't I like them. Like I mean, I think yeah, it's hard to land a proper soccer kick on someone. People don't get that either. Like because I think a lot of the times people have those moves, like you think like it's like you're doing it to your neighbor or something. It's not. It's hard to land a soccer kick because if you don't land a soccer kick properly and you land it on someone's elbow or even on their forehead, you'll break your foot. Um, Zmuk says, "Fab, you should box Ben Askren for some free cash." Man, Ben Askren's a tough dude, man. I don't want to box him. I think Eli. I'd like to see Eli box Ben Askren. He can box. I can't box. Uh, Fab would get that free cash. Is a wrestling match with Ben Askren. Fab make easy work of him. Matt Joe says, "Wasn't there some championship wrestler making his Bellator debut tonight?" I don't know. I don't know. Um, I haven't followed Bellator enough, like to stay on top of it all like that. So yeah, if anyone knows, please write it down. I don't want to take the phone off my daughter to check because she's quiet right now. She's not even looking at the phone; she's just holding it. Um, DSC says, "Just strap up your knees." Yeah, I don't think strapping them up is going to do the problem. It's not going to fix the problem for me. Um, so the fights have been pretty good, man. The fights have been pretty good. I was impressed by that dude, man. In that the first fight of the night of the main card with that left hand down the pipe, boom. So no, that was pretty good, man. That was impressive. Franco Carrera says, "Fab, do you enjoy seeing other sports other than MMA?" Um, Yeah, yeah, I do, but I don't really have time, man. Like I barely have enough time to do this what I'm doing now. Just so busy with so much, and the baby keeps us so busy. We're gonna have two babies. It keeps us super busy. Um, Roy C says, did you hear about reports of the new MMA organization starting in 23, World Fight League, 50-50 revenue share with fighters, medical insurance, pensions? Yeah, I mean, that's all good, man. And I hope they got the right idea and I hope it works out. It's just, let's see who their backers are. Let's see what the actual revenue will be. Because I mean, it's great to get a 50-50 revenue split, but if the 50 if the actual revenue is very, very low, then it's shit as well. So let's see. Did I see the McGregor incident recently? Is that the one with the Machine Gun Kelly? I heard about it, but that was it. Lucas Rivers says, Fab, what's your thoughts on Moreno versus Figgy 3 being booked? Do you think that this is another cash grab like Zhang instantly getting a shot for the title after getting KO'd? Yeah, I don't know why Figgy would get a third fight. I don't really like. I mean, he was sick, etc., whatever. But that's not on Moreno. That's on him. Um, yeah, I don't know. I don't. But then the flyweight division, I don't know. Is there lots of guys there to have that fight? I don't know. PSC says, QA, what do you do in terms of hobbies? My hobbies are spend time with my family a lot of time with my family. That's what I like to do. I go for hikes and walks with my wife and my daughter and my dog. Um, and I try and surf as much as I can. I'm learning to surf, and I try and do that as much as possible. I used to read a lot, like a lot, but I don't read as nearly as much, barely at all, unless I have to read something for uni. I just don't have the time. And then, like of an evening, I try and watch a movie with my wife, or watch a movie as we're both exhausted by the time night comes. So that's more or less what I do. Matt Joe says, Jess Delgado NCAA champion. Apparently, he won tonight by unanimous decision. Ah, nice. Stainless Stove says, Fab, why do you think people become so invested in celebrities' lives like Connor versus MGK? Who actually cares? I don't know. But I think people live vicariously through celebrities' lives. And I think a lot of the times they are a persona that you wish you could be. Kind of like the genre of like criminality on YouTube. Like if you see like how much dudes that like have been in prison, do podcasts or stuff like that, and the followings that they get, which I'm all for it, man. Don't get me wrong. I'm not criticizing it, but I'm saying people have like a fascination with a life that they can't live, and that they wish they could do certain things if they were in that position, whether that's breaking the law or just saying whatever they want to say or whatever, or any combination of that. Or sometimes they wish like they think like the fighters or the celebrities are these really really cool guys that blah blah blah, and you want to believe that there's these amazing human beings out there. So it's I think a combination of all of those things. Um, Stainless Stove says so outside. Stop reading about Connor versus Machine Gun Kelly. Laugh out loud. Man, I just saw that on a feed or something. I don't even know what happened. Oliver Ekman says, not me, that's for sure. It's Stainless Stove. Franco Carrera says, Pantoshev and Askarov are injured. Oh, okay. Franco Carrera says, and Moreno wants to fight. Okay. Well, fuck, make him fight then. I don't know. Um, yeah, I don't know. DSC says, I do think Hollywood glamorizes that kind of stuff. Of course they do, man. Of course they do, because gossip sells. Oh, Romero, 2000 Olympics freestyle medalist, silver medalist. That is such a long time ago. You know what I mean?
Ma,
It's insane.
Daddy.
Yes.
Ma.
Okay, come here. Yeah, it's insane how long ago Romero medaled at the Olympics. Phil Davis, four-time Division One All-American, 2008 NCAA Division One national champion, Penn State career record 116 and 20. That's a high-level wrestler as well, and it's a different form of wrestling. And he's much younger. He's younger, so I do give the advantage to Phil in this one. He's a big boy too. Is Phil Davis, real big guy. Um, Interesting guy as well. Like interesting, very, very, very gifted guy. It's going to be an interesting fight, man. I think it's going to be an interesting fight. Um, AG says, how did your marriage change after parenthood. Man, it's hard. I'm not going to lie to you. It's real hard because it doesn't matter. You can both be good people and everything's good, but the reality is you're both really, really tired, dude. That's like the real thing. Like you're both tired. And I think in our society, we don't normalize stuff. We live in a kind of almost punitive society where everything's punished. So any argument, like people, oh, it's abuse, it's this and that, or you shouldn't say that, you shouldn't do this. But the reality is you're both fucking tired. Or people go, she really loved you. She wouldn't say that. Or, if you really loved her, you wouldn't have said that. And the reality is, dude, like if you both haven't slept for 3 days and you got to go to work and you got to deal with fuckwits at work or whatever, you come home and you're just tired, dude, because the baby sleeps when the baby wants to sleep, and you are running around. You're not as good as being a parent as they are at being a baby. So you're always just running around behind her, like trying to, or him, whichever one the baby is. So my biggest thing I think is just how tired you both are, especially like in our situation where we're both very involved with the baby. In other situations, maybe you have like your parents helping, or my parents do help a little bit. Our parents do help, but I think for us also, we ate lockdown for 2 years. So the help that we've had from our parents has been my mum and dad, and that help a lot. Like she goes and stays over there now once a week or something like that, which helps a lot, a lot. But if not, like we copped 2 years. It was just my wife and I almost for the better part of those 2 years, and it was hard. It was real hard. So just being tired a lot, it really affects your marriage. And if you're not honest about it and you can't have an open conversation and just understand that you're both just tired and that's what it is, not like you personally hate each other, and you just normalize the fact that it's all right to be tired and you can have a conversation around it. It's okay. Um, uh, so Matt Joe says Adesanya said there's something wrong with the left side of his body when they fought, like he couldn't move it as well. Said it seemed really off. About you're talking about Romero and Adesanya? I don't know. I think Phil Davis might win this. I do too. Um, oh, okay, yeah, probably. Um, yeah, Romero's brother is a former boxing champion as well. Yes, he is. Um, One foot out the door says VPN non us on YouTube. I don't know what that means. One foot out the door says Romero didn't get cleared due to his eye to fight Rumble Johnson. Yeah, yes. I don't know if that, like he said, it was because of a sparring partner or something poked him in the eye. I don't know if that's what happened, or his eyes all messed up from it. I don't know. All I know is I was there when I saw his eye in real life, like standing from, I don't know, me to the microphone away, and his eye looked jacked. He looked jacked. He looked like I thought he wasn't going to come back from that. It looked bad, you know. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know. This is going to be interesting. I'm actually really looking forward to that fight in particular. I think Phil Davis and Romero are very, very interesting. We're going to have Lara versus Bennett now in the women's catchweight, and then Neiman Gracie versus Mark Lemminger, which I'm really looking forward to, and Yoel Romero versus Phil Davis. Mark Lemminger's a big boy too, eh? Um, AG says, do you have any clue what Romero was talking about after losing to Izzy, blaming Izzy for not fighting or something? Oh, I think he was just saying that Izzy ran from him more than anything. But the reality is, I think Israel did the right game plan. Like, it's a fight, and Israel did the right thing. As if you're going to stand there if you're going to have Izzy's skill set and Izzy's build, and you sit in the phone booth and exchange power shots with Romero, you got rocks in your head. Uh, sorry if I miss you, guys. I'm just trying to catch with everyone. Tyke Myson says Romero going to set the light heavyweight division on fire. I don't know, man. I don't know if he gets past Davis, to be honest. Um, One foot out the door says eat, sleep, train, Olympian program. Matt Joe says Rumble is out until 2022. By the way, he has severe illness. Says it'll be the biggest battle he's ever fought. Says it's not COVID. I hope it's not cancer. Dude, I don't wish that shit upon anyone at all. One foot out the door says, been a while since I caught a live stream. I'm glad you're here, man, and I'm glad you caught the live stream, and I'm glad you're here watching with us, So that's pretty cool. I wish my thing would be that they didn't have such a big gap between the fighters in Bellator. I like with it, like the UFC does a good job of kind of rolling each fight, after the other straight away. And I'd just like to see, I'd prefer if Bellator did that. That'd be just me. Um, One foot at the door says, was watching the UFC with a friend. Well, I'm glad you're here with us, man. I'm glad you're watching this one with us. Should be fun. Bennett versus Kamush. So Bennett is from Argentina. Interesting. I think, because it looks like she's wearing the Argentine flag on there. DSC says, Fab, what's your poison? By poison, like, what do you mean, like a vice? Definitely food, sweet foods for sure. My poison, absolutely. Like I've been off sugar for a while, but I've slipped up a couple of days, and I've had some chocolate mud cake. And what else did I have? No, just chocolate mud cake. But it slipped. That's my poison by far. That and like food, just food in general. Like I love pizza and I love just food in general. My wife's a good cook, so I get to indulge in food quite a bit. Um, One foot at the door says, can't make too many mistakes against ranked opponents. No, sir, you cannot. Um, Stainless Stove says, I think you meant alcohol. I don't drink alcohol. Yeah, I don't drink alcohol either. That's why it's I don't drink alcohol. Uh Tyke Myson says chocolate mud cake is 10 out of 10. Chocolate mud cake, a good chocolate mud cake, man, with a glass of milk is it's criminal, dude. It's absolutely criminal. I could eat a whole mud cake. I might slip up today with the sugar now that you guys got me talking about it. I might, if the place is open, I might drive down there and get some. It's absolutely delicious. WR says Fab's vice is fried rice. Fried rice is one of my favorite meals. And it's got like I should give it a Fab rating, like and I rate that on being easy to prepare, being nutritious, being versatile. Like you can put as much protein or as much fiber into it as you like. Um, it's 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 not you can make it as cheaply or as expensively as you'd like, and still get a good meal out of it. So I'm a big fan of fried rice, big fan. Um, Fab, has your neighbor been chatting shit lately? Have you had to fucking lift him? Says Oliver Ekman. Which neighbor? I like my neighbors. I get on with all my neighbors. Tojo says, where can I watch this? I'm watching it on like Channel 10 in Australia, free to air. Stainless Stove says, I'd rather drink a whole lemon juice than a sip of beer. Yeah, I'm not into beer at all. I don't like the few times that I've tasted beer, it's like bleh, I don't even get why people like it. And Stainless Stove says, I hate alcohol. Yeah, I don't particularly like alcohol, but I could drink alcohol that's sweet, believe it or not. But I don't like it because I get drunk too easily. If I have like a shot of any type of alcohol, I'm done. One foot out the door says, how are you managing with the current regime? Avoid trigger words terminology. Define the current regime though, man. I don't really get what you mean. Oliver Ekman says, same at Stainless Stove. Yeah, if you tell me what you mean, one foot out the door, just so I know I'm answering the same question, I will do my best.
Daddy,
Yeah,
listen.
I don't know where Rupert is. Rupert's our dog. Oh, this girl comes out and just does the splits in the middle, and she's like dancing, and she's walking there into the octagon with such grace. She is from Italy. She's doing like a whole like interpretive dance kind of thing on the way to the cage. Okay, Bennett is from Argentina. but based out of the US. And Alejandra Lara is this girl from Italy, but she's got the Italian flag, but she's also got the Colombian flag. But she's from Colombia, but she has the Italian flag on her shorts, but she's from Colombia. So this is an all Latin American situation that we have here. Chill says fried rice, pound for pound, one of the best foods of all time. One foot out the door says travel visas, COVID world order. Man, the whole COVID conversation is a whole conversation just for a podcast just about that. I don't want to go down a rabbit hole, man. So all was it going to say to you? Yeah, it's like a whole topic of discussion that in and of itself. Oliver Ekman says your dog is a big puppy. Yes, he is. One foot out the door says mandatory mandates and how brutal Australia has been in general. Hooker having problems to secure a travel visa. Hooker's from New Zealand though, but yeah, it's a whole different topic and conversation. That one just on its own. Michael C. Williams, what are you doing, huh? You little monkey. You little monkey. Yes. Dame un beso. So it's an all Latin American affair. I don't know why she has the Italian flag. I didn't know why she. No, I don't care that she has the Italian flag, but yeah, an all Latin American affair. DSC says thoughts on Paul Craig. I think Paul Craig is starting to find his rhythm and starting to find his niche in how to in what to do there with his fighting. I like it. The thing that throws you off with Paul Craig is that he's a guard puller. Nothing against guard pullers, and but he looks and he acts like he's like a stand and bang kind of guy. And I think he's really come to terms with the fact of just owning that he's a guard player, and he does it really, really well. Just saw Anthony Smith called out Alexander Rakic post-fight for December. What do you think of that fight, Fab? Fucking fireworks, I think. That one's a good fight. I'm looking forward to seeing it. And the right thing for Anthony Smith to do. Nice. Both girls. Lara in with a left hand straight off the bat. Oh, both girls landing big shots. Both girls landing shots, man, actually on each other. Which, like, is good to see because a lot of the times, like I said in the past, a lot of the times the girls land shots, not really landing shots if they're throwing just outside of their range. But these girls are landing them. Chill says that's a Mexican flag on her shorts. I didn't see it clearly. I thought it was an Italian one. But again, like everything is and she's got the Colombian one as well. So it must be okay, she must be Mexican Colombian. I couldn't tell. I couldn't understand why because everything looked everything was Colombian. But then because she had the azul, I thought it might be like the Azuri thing as well. That's why it threw me off. So I couldn't really I didn't see it clearly. DC23 says, how am I watching this? In great discomfort with my little crazy ass daughter, and it's just free to air on Channel 10. So that's really good for us. These girls are trading, dude. They're cracking each other, and now Bennett is trying to ride her over, but Lara tried a Granby roll. I believe Bennett has taken the back. She's got one hook in. They've rolled. Bennett is looking to get that second hook in. Lara is doing a great job of defending that second hook, and I think she's going to end up on top here. I think she's going to end up on top of Bennett. But Bennett has managed to keep the back. Bennett has managed to keep the back. She hasn't landed on the bottom. Lara's doing a good job of trying to finish on top, but I think Bennett's just too slick. She's able to keep the back position. She hasn't been able to secure the second hook. She's got to be. This is one thing with women's MMA. because they're so much more flexible than men, the positions are so different. They really are different, the positions. Now she's stretched her out. She's stretched out Lara. And what we could see here, some ground and pound. Let's see if she's able to get her hips down. But Lara's managed to get herself back up, so she's not fully stretched out. The half Nelson from Bennett is causing all sorts of problems. It really will. That half Nelson is one of the most underused positions in MMA and in grappling in general in jiu-jitsu. Like that position, the half Nelson is a really, really good one. You know, that I think there's underused. Good ground and pound landing by Bennett. She might get this finish here. So at least Lara is not flattened out, but she's not posting. She's not posing any offense. You know, she's not posing any real deep defense, let alone any real offense. Landing some ground and pound is Bennett. That half Nelson that she's got, as she works the half Nelson to wrist control, half Nelson to wrist control. It's money, and I don't know why people don't use it enough, don't use it more. Looks like she's got it. Looks like she's going to have this naked. It's in. I think it's in deep. Is it in deep? No. Lara was able to fight out of it. She went to she rolled out of it. She got full mounted for a second. Now this position is very uncomfortable, and Bennett's very good on the ground. She's like really, really good on the ground. I haven't seen a lot of these girls, but these girls, in particular, Bennett can fight. Bennett can fight. She loves that half Nelson, does Bennett. Loves it, half Nelson. She's using it quite well. She's using it on the far side, which you don't usually see. You don't usually see people using it like the way she was using it. I'm impressed with Bennett. I really, really am impressed with Bennett's abilities on the ground and her use of that half Nelson. I'm a sucker for a good half Nelson. Lara's throwing some bombs. Bennett walks it down. There's 4 seconds to go. Lara seems to be in quite a bit of trouble, and that round is all Bennett. DC23 says Channel 10 doesn't have it on. I think it's like 10 digital or something like that. Channel 10 says Channel 10 Sydney doesn't have it on. I don't know what it is, like 10 digital or one of those channels like that. Oliver Ekman says Fab looking jacked, Greek god type guy. I think if by Greek god I look more like a caramello koala is what I look like more than a Greek god. That man, I'm really, really impressed by this girl, man. The dexterity that women have in like they're so much more flexible than men makes the jiu-jitsu positions different. You know, they're just different. They're able to get into different positions. Matt Joe says the stamina of these two after that. Yeah, that was like that. I'm impressed. Like this women's fight is better than the UFC women's fight. I'll give them that. You know, that was a good. This is a good girls fight. 1 foot at the door says Smith versus Rakic seems justified since Rakic seems 100% undeserving of a fight versus Jiri earned his shot. I'd like to see Smith versus Rakic. Definitely. Good exchanges here from both girls. Southpaw to orthodox, and Lara did connect on Bennett there. Now they're both orthodox, with Lara holding the center of the cage. Lara goes back to Southpaw. Both girls exchanging shots there. Bennett needs this on the ground, I think, to have a clear win, because on the feet it's pretty tight between both of them. It's pretty tight. She looks like she probably gets a better of her on the feet too, but there's a marked difference on the ground. Ooh, right hand lands by Bennett straight down the pipe. Lara certainly felt that. Who do I have? 1 foot at the door. Oh, you're asking 1 foot at the door out of Smith and Rakic. For what it's worth, I probably think Smith. I think he's a little bit more polished, and I think he's probably fought a bit higher up the ranks. Like as far as that's why I think he's a little bit more tested. But I think Rakic is a killer too. Bennett Bennett is doing well, man. I think on the ground though, she has to try and get this fight to the ground. There's 3 minutes to go in this second round. When they're standing, she gets the better of it a little bit, but it's still pretty tight fight. Oh, she landed a little barrage of punches on Lara. Keep her there. Yep. Bennett maintains the center quite well, says Matt Joe. Yes, he does. Yes, she does. But ironically, as we say that, Lara is now in the center. But she does a good job of that. I'd like to have seen her when she does back Lara up to not give up that real estate and just to keep it. Stainless Stove says, do you have any dogs? Dogs keep kids entertained for hours. I do have a dog. It's a Cane Corso. He's a big dog. He's always here. He's in the background somewhere. But yeah, he's a big dog, like 60-kilo dog. Uh, who do I have for Diaz Lawler too? I don't know, man, because it's like I haven't seen Diaz fight in a long time, and Lawler's not the Lawler that of old, you know. Um, yeah, I don't know. 1 foot out the door. Rakic, yeah, I don't know. Bennett once again goes looking for a takedown. Can't get it. Sorry, guys, I have to fix this. The light shines from outdoors. The light shines in my eyes, and it destroys me because the sun's starting to set, like on that side. Not set, but it will set in a few hours. Matt Joe says Bennett is a bit willing to eat jabs though. Yeah, and again, that's kind of happens like in women's MMA. You see that a lot more, like the girls kind of wading through. It's different, dude, because they also save for a few girls. They don't really have the power and the stopping force in their punches later in the fight. In general, some girls still do. Sometimes it happens if you hit someone right on the button, but it's not like men's MMA like that. It's just different. And like I said, the dexterity the girls have on the ground is fascinating to watch because they're much more flexible than the men. 23 seconds to go in this second round. The first round was definitely Bennett. Oh, axe kick attempt by Lara. High parterre now by Lara. And Bennett once again looking for the back. She's going to try and ride her over. Is she going to be able to get this takedown and possibly secure the round? No, she doesn't. 3, 2, 1. And there's the round. She tries to hit her with an elbow at the buzzer. They went to touch gloves. One of those awkward moments where they didn't get to touch gloves. We will move on and pretend that never happened, Lara. Lara went looking for that axe kick, and Bennett was able to get that position. I don't know, like, 1 foot at the. Sorry, let me see. Matt Joe says, hopefully they get a second win coming into this round. They look tired. That pace in the first round was crazy. 1 foot at the door says, should be around a piece. Also could be 2-0 to Bennett. Yeah, you don't know. Do you know what I mean? You don't know. It's hard. It's hard to judge, man. It's a hard sport to judge, and it's a hard fight to judge. Roy C says, I got Bennett up 2018. I don't know because I'm not judging the fights. I'm just commentating. And the first round, though, was clearly to Bennett, in my opinion. But I wouldn't be resting on my laurels if I was Bennett because it could be around a piece. It could be. 4:54 to go in the third round. I do think that for Bennett to put an exclamation mark on this fight and put it outside of the realm of possibility, she needs to get Lara to the ground again. Because on the feet, it's pretty tight between them. I see Bennett getting the better of it, but I don't know if it's enough for the judges to score it differently. Both girls exchanging, they kind of clashed. Then after this, we have the co-main event coming up. Okay, 4 minutes to go in this third round. Lara swinging a massive overhand right, but Bennett kind of ducked and shoulder rolled it, kind of shrugged onto it. 1 foot out the door says based on where they are sitting, um, and if they have access to a TV monitor. I agree with you. 1 foot out the door. Thoughts on Glover? I said before, Glover's like a fantastic fighter. He does a couple of things really well. He's confident in what he does, and he's confident enough to do it. He's got really tidy boxing, nice single leg that he does. He hits a nice single leg, runs a pipe, goes to half guard and starts to pass your guard with really, really good shoulder pressure, looking for, always threatening with that head arm choke, looking for the mount, looking for the head arms. I was in Brazil, I think it was in 2009. I think it was 2009 when he won the Brazilian ADCC trials at heavyweight. That's no joke. The level of jiu-jitsu that you have to win that is pretty high. And he had the good wrestling and the good jiu-jitsu. It was really, really good to watch. He was very, very impressive. I was there when he won it. Um, so that was pretty cool. What's that? Give it a wave. Say hello. 2 minutes, 39 seconds to go. Oh, waiting in is Lara with a few shots. Bennett's staying, like the volume of Bennett is still like overwhelmingly on her side. The overall volume. Nice. Just Lara fighting from the southpaw stance. Now she's back to orthodox. When she switches stance on her shots, it's pretty cool. But Bennett hits her with a nice. She hit her with a really nice blitz there of punches. Oh, big left hand by Lara. 1-2 by Bennett. Nice work. 1 foot out the door seemed like could Alaba improve his stamina even with the scare in the last 15 seconds of the fight, eating that kick. Yeah, it's hard to say if he improved his stamina when he was the one like dictating the whole time the pace against someone that couldn't really grapple off their back. But yeah, it looked that way. It certainly looked that way. But where you are positionally matters a lot. Now, problem is for Bennett is she just got taken down by Lara late in this fight. There's a minute to go. I don't know if this is going to be enough for Lara to win a round or not or whatnot. I got Bennett winning and controlling things, but and Lara didn't really do anything with this takedown. But she's on her back is Bennett. Oh. Almost got up kicked, did Lara. 42 seconds to go. Lara landing some ground and pound. Bennett landing some shots from the bottom. Lara's not really doing any damage from the top. She's just more holding her down now at this stage. Bennett looking to land some more elbows from the bottom. She's definitely the more active of the two from in this position. That's the bell. That's the 3 rounds. The girls help each other up. That's interesting. Um, Oliver Ekman says the new co-host is much cuter than Eli. Yeah, he is. How long till Soldier of God? There's Neiman Gracie's fight, and then that's their fight. Matt Joe says that takedown looked effortless. I think she spent. Otavio Banal says, where will I watch on the internet? No idea. One foot out the door says, versus Glover second round, 100%. See your point. Um, Otavio Banal says you can watch it. Okay. Guys, don't put on 10 play. That's the one. That's it. One foot out the door says 29-28, split decision. Take your pick. Probably Bennett. Yeah, it was a very close fight, man. It was a close fight. Um, I thought that Bennett had it in her to win it comfortably, but it must have taken it out of her a fair bit in that first round, maybe, because they did fight at a pretty decent pace. She did get up kicked. Credit to her, man, for surviving that. Up kicks are awful. What division is this? Let me see. 129. It's not. Yeah, it's not. Okay. Now we got Neiman versus Mark Lemminger. Yeah, 1 foot at. I don't know if it could be. It could be 30-27 for Bennett because in my opinion she definitely won the first. But the second and third were closer. I don't know. It'd have to be very lucky for Lara, in my opinion, to win. I don't think that she won. I think Bennett won. Um, but that's me. Again, I'm not judging. I'm just watching the fights and commentating. You know, Sub 10 says NVM. Thank you, Fab. I hope you're well. I am, man. I am. Both girls shook hands. Bennett won. I think that was the right nod. Ayush says, when is the Romero fight? The Romero fight is on after the Neiman Gracie fight. The Neiman Gracie fight is on next. So it should be on in a minute. 1 foot at the door says, just due to the other fighter being Lara, the Bellator fighter. Yeah, but it, I don't think it was close enough. Like I thought Bennett won. Like I thought that Bennett won it. Ayush Rajwant says, thanks. Yeah, they'll be like it says outstruck 90-30, but I think that comes from the first round where she landed like lots and lots of shots. It's a little bit misleading when people see that. I don't think it was a whitewash. Like, not if you actually outstruck someone 90-30, like you fucking left them for dead. But I think a lot of those shots were the shots that came in the first round that weren't like it's not the same thing. The shots that they were landing. 1 foot at the door says I missed half the first round. The first the first round was really impressive from Bennett. Like I said, I really liked her use of the half Nelson and whatnot. I was really impressed with the grappling. Really, really impressed by it. DSE says thoughts on Damien Meyer, one of the best grapplers to ever do it, man. One of the best grapplers to ever do it. Really, really impressive grappler. Really, really, really impressive. One of the best grapplers to also be not only fight in MMA, because there's been some Marcelo Garcia fought in MMA, Andre Galval fought in MMA, but I'm talking about one of the best grapplers to ever be able to implement his grappling, Damien Meyer. Yeah, absolutely. Bennett got 10-8 in that first round on two judges' scorecards. I can see that. I can see that because there wasn't a lot of. At one point, I said she's not launching any actual defense in this position as far as Lara's concerned, let alone any offense. So, yeah, I can see that. Does Bellator have open scoring? I don't know if they have open scoring. Um, yeah, I'm not sure. So we got this fight coming up, the Neiman Gracie fight, and then we have the main event, which I'm absolutely looking forward to. Uh, Frank Me, after grappling with Damon Meyer, said he felt like he got raped. Um, it's on YouTube. On YouTube, him saying it, or on YouTube, them grappling. Meyer's like different level, but grappler to Frank Me. But again, you don't know, dude. Like Frank Me is a big fucking heavyweight. So I don't know necessarily if how they were rolling the rest of it, Um, because Frank Mir is he's a good grappler, man. Very, very good grappler. She's like some sort of sheriff or bounty hunter or copper or something. She showed a badge. Probably both. I might the humbling interview of how he felt afterwards. I meant the humbling interview of how he felt afterwards. G'day, gents. Yeah, but I will say this, man. It's very rare, like that you're gonna say I rolled with so and so and I just fucking smashed him. Like nobody's gonna say that. I don't think he would either. Don't get me wrong, because Damian Maya is a specialist grappler. But I also don't think Frank Mir would have been there trying to kill him either. You just Frank Mir's a huge guy, dude. He's such a big dude, man. He's such a big guy. But I think Damian Maya, just the way that he grapples and his ability to implement his grappling is really, really impressive. Um, yeah, so that's really, really cool. This guy was a good fighter back in the day, Josh Thompson. He was a real good fighter, man. I was always impressed by this guy's fighting ability. And he knows what's going on too, he knows the game. Good guy to listen to. For the most part, I don't know. I haven't heard him say anything outlandish. 1 foot out the door says we're talking 40 to 60 pounds. Yeah, like at least, because even Damian Maya, yeah, like at his heaviest, wouldn't really be above 205. You know what I mean? And me would probably do 260 pretty easily. So yeah. Um, Stainless Stove says, Fab, right now my dad has hidden walkie talkies in the house and constantly saying shit to mum and I. Now he's playing the toilet flushing noise on loud walkie talkies. You need to take him to docs, mate. You need to take him to docs because that sounds like abuse to me. What do you do with people like that? Now, this Neiman Gracie fight should be an interesting one. The semi-finals looks pretty good, in the light heavyweight division. There's some good fighters. That'll be a good one. Excuse me, people. I'm gonna take this person away. Hi. I tried to give it to her mum, man. I tried to give it to her mum, and she lost the shit. She was like, "No," and she looked at me like I just betrayed her so badly. So I thought, "Nah." 1 foot at the door says, try to guide them out. Some folks don't get it and need to learn the hard way. Some more than once. Um, DSC says, have I ever met Maya? No, I have never met Maya. Never. Garbage Hero. Okay, what the hell's going on with Bellator? Okay, I can't. If you're gonna cry, sorry, if you're gonna cry, okay. Matthew Leslie says. Okay, Matthew Leslie says, what's going on? Sorry. Um, Mate, it was insane. I tried to leave her with her mum, and she just would not do it. She's crying now, like I killed her or something. Unbelievable. Sorry, people. I apologize. Um, okay. She's still a better co-host than the Ballina Bomber. Matthew Leslie said, it's all good. I have a 5-year-old daughter. I understand she ain't easy. My wife's Brazilian and full nuts, so it's even more of a battle than usual. Yeah, my daughter is 2 now. It's yeah, she's crazy. This is gonna look like it's gonna be a good fight, this one, man. Yeah, I've seen this guy fight. I've seen Lemminger. I was actually quite impressed with him. He can wrestle and he can do jiu-jitsu. I've seen him fight. I was actually really impressed with him. And he seems to have heavy hands too. So yeah. Matt Joe says, I sympathize with your daughter. I don't want to see Romero lose either. Yarn versus Glover thoughts? I don't know, man. I don't know. I really don't know. Um, Lean McHungry says, I enjoyed watching Bab's daughter pick his brains. She was finding things too. um, yeah, I'm really looking forward to this one. There are some decent fights, in Bellator. That light heavyweight Grand Prix is not bad. He needs Lemminger now. He's certainly a good fighter. I saw him fight. I saw him fight a few Bellators ago. and I was impressed by him. Yeah, he beat Demarcus Jackson, and he lost to Amasov with a doctor stoppage. But Amasov's a monster, dude. He's so good. Jaleel Willis as well. He lost to him, but Amasov is a fucking freak, dude. He's really really good. I'm really impressed by Amasov. One of my favorite fighters outside of the UFC. Like really really good. Oliver Ekman says apparently Smith got so mad at Spain because Ryan was talking mad shit and then gets beat like that. Well, it's good for him that he got beat like that. Matt Joe says I've seen a lot of Bellator. I think their women's divisions have better stylistic matchups. Just my opinion. Possibly, possibly, possibly. Um, I agree with you, Matt Joe. Possibly. I haven't seen enough of Bellator, and there are some big mismatches in the women's UFC divisions. Yeah, 1 foot at the door. Amasov is 25 or 26 and 0. Yeah, man. And he's beating some decent guys, dude. It's not like nobody's, you know. He's a good fighter. I like him. I like him a lot. Please, guys, like and subscribe and hit the notification bell if you haven't already. Garbage Hero says, "Hey Fab, do you think at 205?" 1 second, guys. 1 sec. Do I think at 205 Romero will be able to be explosive for longer, or he will still just slowly stumble around like he just woke up for a piss? Um, I think the best Romero is at 185. Like he wrestled at that weight. Um, he, he that's his weight. 185 is his weight. Anything above that is heavier. You know what I mean? is much heavier. So it's not his optimal ideal weight. It'll be easier for him, obviously, as he gets older to make light heavy than to make middleweight. But his optimal weight is that 85 kilogram. At light heavyweight, he's still a fucking tank. He's still a strong man. But it's like, I mean, he's always going to hit hard, but I don't, you're talking about a 44-year-old man. He's not going to be the jumping bean that he was 10 years ago, 8 years ago, 6 years ago, 5 years ago. He's not going to be that jumping bean. 10-2 is Neiman Gracie, and 12-3 is Mark Lemminger. Everything else is virtually identical. 1 foot out the door says he did what he had to do to win against the guy who KO'd MVP, Lima. Uh, yeah, but Lima's good, dude. Lima's really good. He's a good jiu-jitsu guy, good striking, and like Amasov gave him the business, man. Like he won well. Matthew Leslie says Vogue or Ortega next week. Back in Aussie, but Ortega is good. Nice matchup. Ortega's very good. I just think stylistically it's going to be hard unless he comes in with some sort of different dynamic. It's going to be hard for him to beat Volkanovski. Thoughts on Charles Sonnen? Thoughts on him in what way? Matt Joe says my favorite Romero highlight is him picking a dude's ankle up like he dropped a penny. Yeah, I think that was in Germany, in the German, like in a German local show, or Poland. It might have been the KSW. It was one of those shows in Europe. Yeah, and he just ankle picked the dude and made it look stupid. Yeah, against Lima and Douglas Lima. No, that Romero didn't do it to Douglas Lima. We're talking about Amasov. Okay, people, we are off. Gracie holding the center of the octagon. Lemminger goes looking for a jab, has a little bit of success. Gracie with some nice jabs as well. Both guys very wary. Both guys exchanging jabs. Nice right hand attempt by Lemminger. Gracie starting to sneak in. Yeah, snuck in close for that right hand. Gracie pushes Lemminger up against the cage. Pushes him up against the cage. He's got good pressure up against the cage there. In this pummel, although he's not really securing an underhook. He's just kind of shifting with Lemminger. Lands an elbow on the break. Moves forward, hits Lemminger with the right hand and a right uppercut. Lemminger's in all sorts of trouble. Gracie's landing shot after shot, lands another uppercut. Lemminger's out on his feet. He gets hit with an elbow. He's out on his feet and the ref calls it. That's the fight, ladies and gentlemen. What a show by Neiman Gracie. I did not see that coming, not that way. Wow. Wow. Great shots. He had him out on his feet. He was out like on his feet, standing up. Rafael Cordero in the corner of Neiman Gracie. Wow. Had him out on his feet. Wow, wow. And now we have the main event coming up, guys. So we should be in for a treat. Wow. He hit him with a nice combination, his shots. So a little elbow over the top hit him right on the chin, and it kind of stunned him, I think. Right on the top of the jaw. Then the 1-2, both of them semi-connected. And that's what's important. Like, you don't have to connect with massive shots, just have to connect with enough power. And that keeps Lemminger on the cage. And then he was able to land that uppercut. When he landed that uppercut, that was a good shot. The thing that's kept another big uppercut, another one. Lemminger has a hell of a chin, dude. He copped another elbow to the chin, and then about 25 punches more than what was needed there. Jeez, he's got a good chin. But you don't want to know you've got such a good chin. Wow. Great job by Gracie. Okay. She's still going. Yes, finding out you got a good chin means you got hit a shitload. I agree with you, Matthew Leslie. Chill says Gracie is a problem. Man, he is very good. Very, very, very good. Very good. That uppercut he hit him with it was so flush like that. Boom. Man. Boom. Look at those shots. This child needs to nap so bad, but she won't. She wants to nap with me. So please don't call docs on me for having my child here like this, dude. Lemminger stayed on his feet to a ridiculous point. Like I don't even know how he took those shots so flush. Matt Joe says, I just explained the entire Gracie lineage to my girlfriend and all about their jiu-jitsu, and he immediately knocks the guy out. Yeah, man, that oh. The irony of it. And good for him for developing his hands. He looked sharp with those 1-2s. It was really, really nice. Really nice. Really, really impressive. That was really, really, really impressive, man. I can't wait for this main event. Actually, I've always liked Phil Davis. I always thought he was a great, great fighter. You know, I always liked that style as well, like the college wrestlers that folk style wrestling. I really, really enjoy watching that the folk style wrestling and seeing how it's implemented. You know, and the guys that can implement it well can create really, really big headaches there. And Phil Davis is one of the best at it. So I'm interested to see it. Also interested to see if Romero can land a fucking bomb on his head because that's Romero's key to victory here. I predict that it'll be a bad kickboxing match for a while until Phil Dave's able to shoot a double and maybe push Romero up against the cage and start to work some chain wrestling there. And, you know, that's how I see the fight going. Thoughts on Lima versus MVP as a second fight that they're going to fight now? I don't know. I don't know because Lima won the first one and he won it quite well. One of the things that's going to make it hard for MVP is that Lima really likes to throw those leg kicks and really likes to target the legs, and that can make it really really difficult for someone like MVP that likes to work on a lot of movement, and he may not be able to do that as readily with someone kicking his legs over and over and over. So yeah, Fimple says, "Ooh, rocking the beard now, eh?" Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Just for now, mate. Just for now. There's a couple of days. I'm letting the beard grow, so we'll see what happens. I just want this main event to go. Rodney Gonsalves says Lima's going to calf kick him into submission. It is hard though. Like when you have a guy that moves like that and that backs himself with so much movement, the leg kicks are a big one. You know. Um, like throwing out a jab, not really necessarily trying to make it land, but just enough to keep him going. Also, the thing is, uh, MVP likes to throw the kicks himself, and one of the best things you can do is kick with a kicker because then MVP has to move his legs. You know, nice shots by Lima. He has to move his legs, and he can't work on the way he wants to work. So as long as he can land the leg kicks, it's a big one. Although MVP covers the distance really well and lands a lot of power as well in his own right. Um, but it's an interesting thing that Lima can land those leg kicks and really make things difficult for him because you have to lift your leg up even to check it, right? Or just to slide out of the way. You still have to move and you can't set your legs the way you want to. Fedor still Fedor's still fighting. No, surely not. Fedor's one of my favorite of all time, but it makes me sad watching him fight. You know, I don't like to see him fight anymore. You know, he was a scary man back in the day. You know. Matthew Leslie says Davis has been solid for ages. His striking has come along nicely. It wasn't too flashy in the UFC, but credit where it's due. He's improved. Yeah, he's always been one of my favorites. DSC says, "How's the surfing going?" The surfing is going incredibly well. Um, Not for me so much, but for those that can surf. So surfing as a sport is going incredibly well. For me, not so much. Shh. For me, not so much. I'm trying to surf. You know, I'm trying to surf, but I'm not a very good surfer, man. It's such a hard sport, man, because one thing is it's a changing environment. Always the goalposts are always changing, and you have it's so specific and such hard work. Like for you to paddle out and get past the breakers and get past like for you to be able to get out the back where you need to be, it's incredibly difficult. And so you catch a day where the waves are rolling in pretty heavy and it's hard for you to get out. It's hard for you to make your way out. And then once you do and you get yourself in the right position and you try and catch a wave and you fall off that wave and that wave takes you in, then you got to paddle all the way back in. And it's incredibly difficult. No matter how hard you think it is, if you've never surfed before, it's harder. Um, Oliver Ekman says Fab's a black belt in surfing. I don't even have a blue strip on my white belt. I live in Cali, never tried surfing. I enjoy skateboarding, but I'm not very good at it. Laugh out loud. I'm probably like that with surfing. I enjoy being out in the water and hanging out with my friends and that, but it's you know, like, and also for someone of my level, my age and everything, and my level of commitment, I don't. The day I have free might not be the day that the surf's good. You know, like the surf was all right this morning, but like I wasn't going to go out and surf today because I had to do the podcast all day. Then I had my and I had to look after my little one with my wife, of course, and and then after this, I'm not going to go and surf. I thought I might be able to, but I won't be able to. Just the way that everything's um, panned out. Like I've been doing this probably going to be close to 7 or 8 hours, So no, I'm not going to go for a surf. I'm going to go and spend time with my family and whatnot. Romero looks jacked. He looks so big, dude. And you know something else about Romero? For 10 years, he medaled in every single major event for 10 years. Matthew Leslie says surfing is hard if you start as an adult. Like anything, experience. I'm from the Gold Coast, living on the northern beaches, and other homes is in Brazil on the ocean. I'm constantly surrounded by waves. Yeah, that'd be mad. And if you started as a kid, you won't understand how hard it is for people. It's like you did gymnastics as a kid, you just won't understand how hard it is for someone to do a handstand. That's not that one doesn't have the aptitude for it, and two um, hasn't done any physical activity for a long time. Oliver Ekman says Fab could be getting so sick waves right now, but instead spoils us. Blessed. Thank you, sir. Romero is looking jacked. Um, Matt Joe says, I wonder what the contracts are like for former UFC fighters in Bellator, like Corey, Yoel, Rumble, etc. I think you'll find that they'll be quite competitive with the contracts, especially in terms of them being able to have a competitive contract, but also being able to keep the money from sponsors. I think makes a fair bit of a difference. Romero might be a little bit different because Romero was kind of left at the tail end of his career, so to speak. But guys like Musasi and all of that, I think it'd be quite competitive for what they were getting paid at the time in the UFC. Um, yeah, let's say Phil Davis is looking. He's a big athletic dude, man. Romero, Romero looks like he was on his way to a bodybuilding contest, and then he changed his mind and thought, "I'll do a strongman contest." And then on the way to that one, he just went, "Nah, I'll just go and have a fight." One foot out the door says Yoel won a major lawsuit against a supplement company due to a failed drug test. Honestly, I think you have to look into that one. I'm not saying I'm not trying to take the piss on you, but I think you have to look at that because I don't think that was that accurate. That thing. Like I'm not going to sit like I'm sure he took the people to court or that whole thing. Da 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 da. But who owned the supplement company and the rest of it is a whole bunch of other bullshit. The company would have been by the time he took it to court would have been worth $5. Um, Matt Joe says, think Davis will hang at range like Adesanya, or do you think he'll go for it and bring the fight to him? I think he'll hang out at range, but he's got the wrestling to test that with Romero and try and wear Romero out a little bit. Um, Matthew Leslie says Romero doesn't have the cardio to implement his best weapon. He's wrestling Olympic wrestler who doesn't go for takedowns. Has the main already occurred right now? Right now. One foot out the door says the judge ruled in his favor is all I'm saying. Um, there's a lot to that story, man. There's a lot to that story. Oliver Ekman says starting now at DJVOME. Soldier of God is Fumples Pimple says Fab when surfing, how do you know that you aren't going to get taken by rip all the way out into the ocean? You want to go in the rip to take you out, because otherwise you have to paddle through the wave. So you jump in the rip and the rip takes you out, and then you swim across the rip. Then you like paddle across the rip to get back into like the lineup and that. So you want to get taken out by rip. One foot out the door. I don't want to talk about the Romero thing, man. I really don't, because like I know things that I'm not going to say here and that. So all I would say to you is not look into it too much, you know. Um, cheers, bone rhymes with home. Dr. Smurfer says, should Romero have better cardio without having to cut as much weight? Um, he's 44 though, dude. You know what I mean? I don't think that's going to be much of a thing. One foot out the door. Just try and think laterally on how that could be arranged. You know what I mean? That's all. I don't know. I can't talk too much about it. One of these days, I'll talk about a different situation, a hypothetical situation, and and I won't even quote this, and you can read into whatever you want to read into. Um, Matthew Leslie says, think I'm going Davis here. Just avoid that thunderous power from Romero early, then wear that big bastard down. Fumples Fimple says, I thought rips were dangerous. I guess not when you have a surfboard. If you understand, like, and I'm not like a fish, but the guys that I go out surfing with are very, very good in the water, and like they'll jump in the rip to take them out past the breakers, and then you jump off the rip. You just swim laterally across it. The rips are dangerous when you don't know what's happening, and the rip drags you out, and you're fighting against it. And in the ocean, dude, you'll drown. Like it'll take you 3 seconds before you panic. If I'm talking about if you're not comfortable in the water, it'll take you 3 seconds before you get dragged into a situation where you fucking petrified. You know what I mean? And you just flail and you'll go under. Um, I've been in bad situations. I'm not fully comfortable out in the water, and I'm just lucky that I've always been out with guys that are good in the water and they've been able to help me. But yeah, man, I just think about some stupid stuff that we've done even when we were younger out in the ocean, and it was like fucking dumb, dude. And I could have died many, many times. Yeah, yeah, Matthew Leslie, that's exactly right. You just got to be aware of the direction the water's pulling you, where it's pulling you to as well, because sometimes it's not pulling you in the right direction. I wouldn't say to you, jump in the water, listen to what I just said, and let it drag you out, and then you deal with it however you want to deal with it. Yeah. Wonder how much Romero's weighing in the ring tonight. Probably around 100 kilos. Um, Matt Joe says, my girlfriend will have a few minutes to get stuff. Me, it's a Romero fight. It doesn't start until the last round. Yeah, I do think that Phil is going to try and like, I think oblique kick him. I think you'll probably see a lot of side kicks and stuff like that because he doesn't want to exchange with Romero in that pocket. And then I do think he's going to start trying to take him down. I do think he's going to do that. It's reduced to lots of good swimmers. Panic will get you, says Matthew Leslie. Dude, it's the worst. It's genuinely scary, the ocean, genuinely. And the power, dude, that the waves hit you with. And I'm not even talking about huge waves. I'm just talking about like decent waves will shock you the power that they have. Like just that's just like a wave that it'll just hit you and it'll turn you inside out and round in a circle. Ah, Matthew Leslie, I've rescued good swimmers. Yeah. Panic will simply fatigue you. Yeah. Uh, it's brutal, dude. It's brutal, brutal, brutal. I can't. If you haven't experienced that, it's super scary. You know, it's a very very scary situation. Oh, little monkey, poor little thing. She's so tired, but she wanted to be out here with me, and I just told her she had to be quiet, and otherwise she goes back in with her mum. And she's such a good girl. She's such a good girl. Either that, or she's just petrified of her mum. I don't know. Romero looks so big, man. He looks so massive, but he's not tall. He's not a tall guy. Let's see how this goes. He could catch Phil Davis with a bomb, and that's the fight. We're off, people. We're off. Romero in his southpaw stance. Phil Davis in the orthodox stance. Phil Davis trying his best to fight long, and he's keeping that left hand in between he and Romero. He's gonna blitz in at some point. I'm just wondering if Phil Davis is going to go for that single leg on this side as quickly as possible. He has to hide it because you do not want to run into something that Romero is throwing at the same time, whether it's a flying knee like Chris did, or you know, he could try an ankle pick. I mean, a knee pick. Davis throwing a right hand and then going for that lead leg. I think Davis wants the scrambles. That'd be my take on it. Davis doing a good job. Romero's dropping his level as well. Romero just dropped his level then to get a reaction out of Davis. But I think the funny thing with both these guys, I think both these guys back their wrestling ability as well. And you can't give Romero does this. He lulls you into a false sense of confidence because he really slows down the pace, and he knows he's got the power to at any time if he lands knock you into next week. He's doing a good job of conserving his energy. Is Romero nice inside kick by Romero, and that comes from just you having switched to orthodox. Has Romero both in orthodox now? It just comes from you having lots and lots and lots of experience in wrestling, in obviously in fighting, but mainly he's wrestled so much, and competed at such high levels for such a long time. But see, this doesn't affect Phil either. Like as long as Phil can keep doing this, it doesn't. He doesn't worry him. Nice inside kick by Phil. By Romero. Sorry, Phil Davis the 1-2 down the pipe again with another 1-2. He goes Phil Davis. Oh, Romero throws a big front kick down the middle. Man, that front kick was crazy the way he threw that. There's 2 minutes and 4 seconds to go. Romero's definitely the better striker out of the two. He's definitely the better striker out of the two. Phil, I do believe Phil has to try and get this. Romero has to try and get Romero onto his back. which is easier said than done. Nice leg kick by Romero. Nice leg kick by Davis. The amount of power that Romero has is incredible, though, with his shots. Like with not a big wind up, he can land some big shots. Really, really, really dangerous man. And he is the ever present threat of the takedown, as much as you don't want to think he does. But you still know that you're watching Romero. Ooh, it went high with a left kick. Oh, he hit Phil, kind of clubbed him in the back of the head. 53 seconds to go. Phil with another right kick lands on Romero. Romero answers one, but he got checked by Phil. Romero he's doing a good job. They're both doing a good job. Got to be careful trading in that pocket with Romero, though. Nice leg kick again by Phil Davis. Nice work. The more mobility he can take. Romero's sneaking that front kick really well. It's almost like a question mark kick. He's showing a leg kick, and then he's throwing the front kick from it. And he's been dropping his level quite well and landing that kick to the inside of Phil Davis's leg. I edged that minutely for Phil. Romero hits like a truck, simply can't get tagged on the chin or it's done. Yeah, no, you can't. You cannot. Matthew Leslie says wrestling should cancel each other out. They're both good. Cardio is going to win this if a huge shot isn't landed. Yeah, but as soon as he can see that Romero starts to slow with the cardio, which you're right, I think that's when Phil will probably try and wrestle him. And she's so she's so stubborn. She won't go to bed. She wants to stay here with me, but she's falling asleep. We're off into the second round, so I do hope that this fight ends relatively quickly, so that Docs doesn't take me away. It's only 3 rounds, so 2 of a possible 3 rounds. Okay, then that I believe helps Romero immensely. I don't think Romero has lost many, if any, 3-round fights. With all of his stoppages coming in that third round. Oh, 1-2 by Phil Davis. Oh, Phil goes to the body and Romero goes looking for the mother of all left hooks. And 3 rounds like this, Romero can do this for 3 rounds, no problem. Oh! Throwing bombs at each other. One, two by Phil. Romero hits Phil with a big shot. And Phil hits a double leg. Romero defends it quite well. Nice sprawl by Romero. Good double leg by Phil as well. Nice little jab by Phil. Nice jab by Phil. Throws a left hook, does Phil. 1-2 by Phil. I'd like to see Davis throw a front kick himself. He's the taller of the two. And the way that Romero's holding his guard at times leaves him susceptible for that. Nice 1-2 by Phil. Romero throws a jab of his own. 1-2 again landed by Phil. Nice left kick by Phil. Romero goes looking for an upward elbow. Jumping, leaping jab by Romero. Romero has a lot of power, dude. A lot of power. He's got a crazy chin as well. Phil hits him with a clubbing right hand. Got to be careful with these fire exchanges in there with Romero. I'd like to see more takedown attempts by Phil. Nice leg kick by Romero. He almost takes Phil off his feet. I'd like to see Phil Davis attempt another takedown attempt another takedown. Sorry, it was tremendous tautology by me. Inside leg kick by Romero. 1-2 landed by Phil. Another kick by Phil. 1-2 landed by Phil again. Inside leg kick by Phil. 1 minute 30 seconds to go. Another nice leg kick by Phil. A leg kick by Romero. Oh, Romero with a big combination. Almost wakes my daughter up. My daughter's falling asleep. Yeah, she's in my arms asleep. 1-2 by Phil. Phil changes his level and jabs the body. Phil's definitely winning the fight, in my opinion, at this stage, but Romero's a guy that can finish you at any stage, and he's going to start turning it on more and more. Yes, Phil, well done. I was about to say Phil needs to drive that big double leg. He needs to do that, you know. Now Romero has the underhook and he's in the right position with the half guard, but Phil is very, very versed on top. He's got 12 seconds here. I'd like to see him land some ground and pound on Romero. I don't think he's going to Kimura Romero like this at this stage. Just making Romero work, I think, is very, very important. Because as Romero starts to get full on and starts to come forward, because he's going to come forward in this third round, he's going to come forward, mate, throwing bombs, and Phil has to take him down without getting hit, without eating a knee or something like that. Yeah, the co-host is gone, people. The co-host is fallen asleep. The first in the history of co-hosts. Romero hit him with a good combination there, but it didn't land flush. Nice jab landed by Romero. But short of Romero stopping him, I don't see Romero winning this fight. Even if Romero wins a third, the first I gave to Phil, just gave to Phil. I'm laughing at you, Michael Wood, with what you just wrote. They both look very comfortable going into third round. It, the it wasn't it wasn't like a super high paced fight. So they're both comfortable going into this third. If Romero starts coming forward, Phil has to hit that double and avoid getting kneed in the face. See, Romero's now coming forward. He's feinting. He's showing different moves, doing a lot of hand movements. He's coming forward. He saved himself for this third round. He's a dangerous human being, man. He's swinging for the fences, man. Swinging. Showing a lot of movement, a lot of like a lot of different moves, a lot of different looks, level changes, hand movements. very flamboyant in his approach. Nice front kick, Phil. Well done. That's what I'd like to see him use a little more because the southpaw to orthodox, you know, nice work, Phil, with a takedown straight into mount. Romero with the old bench press escape. Phil rides him back over into parterre, but Romero's balance is so good. He used that really well to defend that, but Phil Davis eventually gets him down. Romero's got his hands around Phil's neck, but Phil's going to do everything he can to keep him in this grind here. That's one part of collegiate wrestling that I like. Just the way that they're able to just keep that going with the mat returns. In fairness, this is a much older Romero than would have ever been. But still managed to get back up to his feet. He's defending really, really well. But Phil Davis has got such a long, strong arms. So he's able to get his and he's able to get his hands and link them around Romero. And he's got long arms and they're super strong. He's a big guy. He's able to just keep dragging him off the cage. So, so he's very, very nice, man. Very, very nice the way he's doing this. Trying to isolate the Kimura here on on Romero and landing some good elbows here. They're not landing flush, but they're landing enough. And he's definitely out of the two, I'd say the better jiu-jitsu guy, if you will. Whereas I'm sure Romero will tap a lot of good black belts just because he's a freak. But like actual jiu-jitsu, I give it to Phil. This is the first, people. My commentary is so boring that my daughter fell asleep right here next to me. So Romero's got the underhook. He's going to make his way back up. He did manage this. Phil puts him back up against the cage. This is where he needs Romero. He needs Romero here up against the cage. He doesn't want Romero to have space. He doesn't want Romero to be able to set up and launch shots and have power to do so. Great work by Phil for changing levels, hitting that double leg. Romero's looking for a five-finger guillotine or a front choke. And Phil picked his poison with that, which is a smart move. That's what you want him going for. Phil, and this is where you see like there is a significant size difference. Like why I say to you is they probably walk around at close to the same weight, but one guy's a natural light heavyweight and the other guy's a natural middleweight. And the size of their frames, everything is different. You know, Romero gets looking to get into the parterre position, gets back to his feet, but Phil has one hook in and he's going to continue to ride him down. Romero's really slowed down now. There's a minute and 12 seconds to go, and Phil has one hook in. I don't think Romero's going to be able to get back to his feet. And collegiate wrestling specializes in this, which freestyle doesn't. That's one of the big things that I like about collegiate wrestling. Landing the big shots to Yoel's body. There's 49 seconds to go. I don't necessarily think he's going to get a finish here on Yoel, but he's just going to stop Yoel from being able to get up. That how Phil is riding that left leg and pulling it outwards. Like with his left leg, he's riding Romero's right. Makes it really hard for Romero to get back to his feet. Having said that, Romero just went and got back up to his feet. Inside trip attempt by Phil. Phil just has to keep the wrestle on. It doesn't even matter if he's losing the wrestling exchanges. He just has to keep that scramble going, and he's going to win this fight. 17 seconds to go. Tried for a step back, doesn't achieve that. Hits him with a big knee. 12 seconds to go. He cannot let Romero have some space where he might land a shot because Romero can put you out. And that's the fight, people. And I've got Phil winning that fight quite clearly. That is a fight, ladies and gentlemen. That's the bell. Phil Davis won that, in my opinion. I'm glad nothing big happened where I didn't have to yell and wake up my daughter. Really, really impressive, people. Like, I mean, granted, it was over, 44-year-old Romero, weight division above, but it's not Phil's fault. Phil went out and did what he had to do, and he was smart, and he applied the game plan that he needed to apply. Thank you, Oliver Ekman. Guys, I'm not going to stay on today. I'm going to try and do a review maybe on Tuesday or something. Just my daughter's asleep. So much love to all of you. Thank you very much. I want to thank all of you for being always really patient when my daughter's on the show and understanding because I can't. Sometimes I have to be here with her. My wife is super pregnant and needs to sleep sometimes, or she has to go do something, and I have to have her. So sometimes when I have the co-host, I just want to thank everyone and appreciate it very much. Um, so thank you very much, guys. And I want you guys to have a good night. Look after yourselves. Take care of each other. And I'll see you guys soon. Bye bye.